Steel is one of the most commonly used materials in the world today, but how did it even become so popular? The Industrial Revolution was a time of new discoveries that progressed many different fields.
In 1852, the start of the Iron Age was caused by a steady rise for the demand of fuel. Iron began to be used for things that people needed, such as iron nails for railways, bridges, tunnels, machine frames, water pipes, and many more. The cheap material also appealed to the civilians, so iron was used in whatever possible way, including things like window frames.
Iron use was greatly improved because of how iron makers discovered how to get pure iron out of the ore. They used coke, a leftover fuel from the erosion of coal that has a high carbon content, to melt the ore.
Sir Henry Bessemer was the creator of the first process for manufacturing steel inexpensively in 1856, which later led to the Bessemer converter. In Bessemer's time, there were only two iron-based construction materials, cast iron and wrought iron, which was made from cast iron using the process of puddling, which involved stirring the iron in order to remove carbon and slag. Cast iron was used for withholding heavier objects such as columns or bridge piers, but only wrought iron was appropriate, in particular for rails. The only material, steel, was made by adding carbon to pure forms of wrought iron in a slow and meticulous process. The end result of this process was that the material, steel, which was hard and used a lot for cutting tools.
Steel has been around for hundreds of years and has not really changed since the 19th century, but the manufacturing and the industries that utilize steel have transformed rapidly over time. In the manufacturing process, industries have become more efficient at producing larger quantities of steel while also cutting costs. Insulated metal panels made of iron have contributed to making energy usage more efficient and less expensive operating costs. Automobiles, appliances, bridges, oil pipelines, and buildings all are good examples that are made with steel. Some other goods made of steel in mills are steel wire, pipes, bars, rods, and sheets.
In conclusion, iron played an important role in the Industrial Revolution. The transition from iron to steel created new opportunities with the cheap accessibility of iron. When the Bessemer process was made in 1856, steel became much cheaper to make, so it could be mass-produced. The demand for steel and coal raised and made Britain one of the world leaders at the time. It was making at least 30 million tons of steel every year by the late 1800s. With new technological advances being made, Britain gained the edge over everyone else, as the high demand for steel made them the greatest economic country at the time.